calling this album Killing Nothing is kind of a boldface, get it, lie. Because Boldy James been killing everything these past couple of years. Boldy and Real Bad Man collaborated a couple years ago with their Real Bad Man EP, which I thought was pretty good, but I think they left a little bit on the table given how good each of them are individually. With how these singles sounded though, I think this has the potential to be really special. Let's get into it. This sample, especially how they got that cymbal echoing in the background, this really reminds me of something Sadu Gold would sample. These drums are clean.
I got 30 rounds to down you, 4 pound. You shot murder, how they found you. You low down, dirty, rotten scoundrel. I ground you, no punishment. No pun intended, but back in grade school, you was running for student council. Now you a killer.
I like them opening bars. The rhyme scheme on it's tough. It was a 2-syllable, but it was back to back with it.
Break bread with your man, so let
the grimy too.
Thank you, big fella. Play big on the soil. Niggas a house you catch you slipping like a house you tap you in. Just the out you
slipping like a house. I like that.
Like I was about to, but I got off into that water. Took a swim without a towel. Held my breath a little longer. If you did it, would have drowned you. Couple thousands.
I like that wordplay right there. The jumping in the water wordplay.
Hollering at the moon with the wolves, don't make them pound you. All the bridges I burnt, all the thugging I did, all the niggas I murked.
It played into the name of the song too. That's cool.
But it was what it is. All the riddles from hurt. That's water under the bridge. All dressed in black with that Miss Mary Mac with the silver buttons down her back. Mailed a nigga like some candle wax.
Miss Mary Mac.
Just like some sample packs, drum attached. 150 rounder, that's a rumble pack.
Like sample packs
Get your
fire.
plug noodle lane for a couple racks. The kids interrupted your grandmother nap. Had them crawling through the crib on that stomach front and back. Made her turn her hearing aids down like what the fuck was that?
That's fire.
Gave her a heart attack. Chopper bit his whole leg off. Looked like a shark attack.
Oh, that's a really strong opener. The first thing that jumps out to me is this has a way different vibe than any of the tracks on Real Bad Boldy, in my opinion. It just had a much darker feel to it. It still had Real Bad Man's signature texture with all those different instruments, but everything was drenched in reverb to the point where it sounded like a nightmare. Boldy was on point. The first verse was super technically sound. Then he had a lot of standout punches on that second verse. When he got the script of talking about waking the grandma up, that was hilarious. But yeah, a bunch of good punches from him, and everything was a gun bar. So grimy verse to match a really grimy beat. This is all the way out.
I might tear up if I give you
baseline is tough.
All I've been through and all that they can tell me do is cheer up. I heard bro name popped up in some paperwork. He got a lot of smut on his rep, he gotta clear up. Ain't trying to hear much like I got on some earmuffs. I been school, grab a seat and pull a chair up. All of these carrots in my Rollo Dolo on the block while you roll around with 20 niggas like a scared bitch. Pussy nigga on my body, I got framework.
Hey, get your boy though. Why Benny do Freddy like that with 20 niggas?
Type of nigga get a nigga whole game work. If I don't got it on me,
I like how I chopped it up right there. That's dope.
He gon' crash all the way out. And he gon' crash all the way out. I'm Phil Jack, I just called a half a band for this chop, bought it half off. Let off half a clip, came back and spin after we stabbed off. Down truly in my
I like that half off wordplay. I played with that word for a couple of bars.
ghetto, we who got the strength, playing both sides against the middle, niggas not exempt. And shit out only way that I know how to vent.
Airing out, I ain't know how to vent, that's tough. But I could be reaching or reading into it a little bit more. But that next playing down the middle bar, that plays into the half word scheme that he had a couple lines before.
It's not killers, they just got attempts. I make this shit look easier than Robin Thicke. 80K in my left pocket, left a wallet print.
Another solid joint. I think they're finding a good mix between the two. Boldy sounds really good on these darker beats, and I think Real Bad Man is generally a little bit brighter and airy with his production. But it's a good mix because you have that reverb drenched bass line that has this dark feel, and then the keys kind of brighten the beat up a little bit, but it doesn't make it too bright where Boldy feels out of place. I thought his first verse was solid, but he really got in his bag on that second verse. He had some really good writing. I talked about that half off, halfway wordplay. Then he had several one-liners that stuck out to me. That's a good song. This is Game Time.
Pulling off from a cell and he
The synth sound like when somebody finna die in a scary movie.
say connected with blocks, just ask him how he met me. Put my whole wrist in a pot, then I pull out a present. Mama gave up on me early, damn near called it quits.
That's tough. Put his wrist in the pot water whip and came out with a Prezi. This ain't a Prezi, it's a Fossil, but
GFR the click. Me and Wes, we got a partnership. If I ever fall off, he gon' hit me with a starter kit.
It's a good 3-syllable.
White gold 42, Duggar with the boogers. Pressure cooker showed you how to turn shit into sugar.
That was a better 3-syllable.
It's multiple drugs on the road at the same time.
This guitar sounds sick right here on the chorus. A little modulation in the beat.
Over the stove on my Raekwon. Headshot buzzer beater, bitches game time.
Any 90s rap reference going hit. I like that Cuban Links line in the chorus.
Couple niggas dropped the board, that's a fumble liar. Or 4,000 grams, now that man under fire. I run with snipers, all my shooters got 100 priors. Used to straight drop it in the pot like some jambalaya. We put the load on spin.
Come on, man. Come on, man. The jambalaya bar is tough.
Watch it bubble in the washing machine. To let that money tumble in the dryer. Was taught to take it if I wanted it before the wire.
Boldy is writing right now. Had it in the washing machine, talking about spinning it, whipping it, and then the dryer bars, then laundering the money. That's tough writing.
Put my face on the wanted poster on the flyer. Show me the money, no Jerry Maguire. If niggas try to box me in, then I'ma open fire.
That dark, ominous beat, driven by those synths, really reminds me of something that DJ Muggs or Alchemist would pull out. I mean, that's Boldy James' lane. That's where he sounds the best, and his writing here was so on point. Boldy is quietly really good at punching. He has good one-liners in all of his work, but I really like that he's getting into some of that subtle wordplay that extends for a couple of bars, like that washer dryer flip in the second verse. That second verse was cold overall. Both verses were cold, but that second one, he really got into some good technical writing. I like the rhyme schemes in the first one, and I like some of the wordplay in the second one. This is 190 bands.
I've been in the streets so long, my name card in the pavement, but all my people's dead and gone, so parting.
I've been in the streets so long, my name card in the pavement. Come on, man.
So when they sleep, I'm wide awoke. It's hard for me to shake it. I ride with Didi right or wrong, regardless what we facing. Can't let these niggas do me bold or hard, they couldn't take it. I read the statement that he wrote, was hard for me to face it. Keep the money close, never too far for me to chase it.
He's messing with this woke whole, playing with that O sound as alliteration. He's in it with a 2-syllable. He's getting into some really good technical writing.
No, they don't comprehend. It's hard to speak my slang, which left my passport in Japan. They carded me in Vegas. 190 bands.
These choruses are pretty good. I think all 4 songs had a chorus so far.
My hood, we ain't crippin', but we rep the letter C. Used to ante up and chippin' on the
Concrete.
Lost G ain't tell Eric, holla at my nigga Deal. Long live my nigga Krill, they found him hanging in the seal. Tell Stevie Slick and Tez, fuckers, we gon' do without him. Only place for us is at the top, cause we come from the bottom. Used to be with Freddie B and Jocko. They caught up with his mans, knocked the meat out of his taco. That's how you take a stand. Peace, my nigga Will from the war. My nigga E from the bill. Chili for Shrewsbury. Can't forget Screech and LaVille.
I think Real Bad Man's definitely showing out with his production. I like that oscillating violin with that muted horn in the background. He also throws in a little texture. He had these, I think it was like submarine or radar sounds towards the end of the song. Boldy's verses were pretty good. They weren't the best 2 verses on the album, but they got the job done. I noted the subtle little complexity in his rhyme scheme on that first verse. Second verse, he more so used it. Shout out his homies who are, you know, either dead in prison. I always thought it was crazy when rappers have enough dead homies to make a whole verse about it. That's a little dark. This is Medellin with Crime Apple. Where every instrument is dripping in reverb.
I can't believe my own eyes. I've been told last. 4-5 with the chrome slab, take a nose dive. I broke strap, first take, caught my second win. So past, sir, case bought my second being. Spilling the brand, same time I was setting trend. They say make peak game time, that's my next of kin.
This ain't Ajax, we taxing, you talking white business. Looking Anglo-Saxon, how I brought the sack, and that's a white privilege.
Yo,
just got a new Benz.
Come on, man. Come on, man. The Anglo-Saxon white privilege flip. Come on. I like the rhyme scheme too.
Just got a new Benz, I call it Snowflake. Mi hermano Jose, stay around some white light, Colgate. That's white light, the beard on a coach cake. The prepago dancing on my dick until it pulsate. I pop up like entonces, might be enrolado o el poblado. Motherfuckers know me billetera está empanizado. Amala a mi lado, I'm feeding her Ducey. Back home, I got me a Jersey City Carucci. Unk still got dip on a Lucy, I'm burning loudly.
Well, so this has been fire production so far. I will say, I think the natural comparison is going to be, how do you rank this against his work with Alchemist? Since he has 3 takes with Alchemist, this is his second take with Real Bad Man. I'll give the nod to, you know, a Bojack easily, but I think Real Bad Man has been excellent. The keys on that song just sound sick, and it was 2 different layers of it. I like that feature from Crime Apple. I think he really spazzed on the first half of that verse when he got into the Anglo-Saxon white, Colgate, Snowflake, the whole white wordplay in the opening lines. He lost a tad bit of steam after he got into his whole like Spanish thing, but the verse rolled. The verse was tough. Boldy's verse was pretty good too. This is Cash Transactions with Knowledge the Pirate.
Touched my first $500,000 and I fell in love. Thinking about where I was at before I met
insane.
the plug. I probably never love this rap shit more than this trap shit. I got a passion for selling drugs. Strap poking out his jeans, he in stack motion. Granny was 3 months clean, now she back smoking. Mixing the coke with the Rego, she love the 51. Best dope in the ghetto, where he get it from. Involved in everything, involving his immediates. Taming the dog when that bitch was disobedient. I probably never let this rap.
Taming the dog when it was disobedient to fire alarm. That's a good ender for a really good storytelling verse.
You ever seen a thug up while niggas hating on him? $150 in the Gucci bag, the plug waiting on him. I'm wanted by the feds, a few state charges pending. Still I drop off work to my dogs on the boulevard of Linden.
Yo, this is a sick 4-syllable rhyme scheme right here. He came out the gate snapping.
Military tactics, money under the mattress. My shooter got 4 bodies on a dirty gun, calls it his lucky ratchet. And he'll let you have it. I'm like a crossing guard directing traffic. UPS delivering a package.
It's pretty interesting with how dark this production is, that it still has this jazzy feel, but it's just all the instruments are drenched in reverb. It's like if they had an orchestra underwater. But it's pretty creative, pretty impressive production from Real Bad Man. Boldy had a fire storytelling verse. Knowledge had a really technically sound verse. Man, these 4 syllables is rare, man. They hard to put together, and he came out the gate firing them off. He switched it up towards the end of his verse where he fired them back-to-back 2 syllables. That's a good song, man. This is Open Door.
Seen me and break, title, and fold. Placed that on my soul. I had to scram, shake, rattle, and roll. Shout out west to Cali, came back with the bows. For the cheap concrete, we weigh packages whole. Stay strapped with the pose. Shotgun, made back of the road. This ain't that, can't lack with the low. Stay.
Come on, man. He got a 4-syllable to end the bar. He got a 4-syllable in the middle of the bar. Bro.
Stay jacking the pros, niggas stealing straight jacking my flows.
Almost every single word is rhyming.
Bass strapped that she cold, even though I'm laid back when I'm blow. Don't be another face tat on my bros.
If it's 12 syllables in a whole bar, he's rhyming 8 of them. That's insane. That's stupid. I get why though. Wrong Streets can do the same thing.
Hey, yo, got my bread hand in hand. I ain't get no check from the government. Re-up with my man, split the grams. We was thugging it, fucking on the square hole, but really love a gutter bitch. The eyeball of work in a purse to hold her up.
Bro, these niggas is rapping.
Always on some shit, my lifestyle a felony. Still selling dope, thinking I'm a celebrity. The 23 I told, turn your brain cells to celery and rockin' bells like LL and end your destiny. Work a pill press.
Brain cells to celery is fired, turned into a vegetable. Come on, man.
Niggas will press, you press triggers, then rest in peace. Sheesh, cook the fish like hot grease. Straight drop on the top piece.
That's tough. Once again, Ron C's immaculate. He has some fire punches in it too. Let's see what Stove God got.
I got him kneeling to the yay 7 days. Give thanks to my
so
wrist, all
ignorant.
praise.
That's so
a
ignorant.
cocaine parade, sitting on 77 bricks while I wave. Bought a kilo, stepped on it, got an ego, got a speedboat, a Ferrari Portofino, all Perico. Money spilling out the safe, pythons and naughties, I'm Jake the Snake, you fake. Just make sure you win and win the game in. All my bitches let a stove, not Raymond. Is it flames? No, I ain't
Oh, my chicks love the stove, not Raymond. Let's go.
open up a whole thing since so far.
Smelling reeking through the rapper, so you know it's raw. Fans love me, but the drug buyers know me more.
Nah, man, that song's different. Man, I gotta say, this is probably the best song on the album so far. The beat is eerie, and all 3 of them niggas lost their minds. Boldy James had his best verse of the album so far. Them back-to-back 4 syllables. I mean, knocking out 2 4 syllables within the same line. That's crazy. He got into that drug talk and that street talk. Wrong Streets came in, did the same thing. It was a little bit more variance in his rhyme schemes, but just as technically sound as Boldy's. He had a couple of fire punches, especially towards the end of that verse too. Stove Guy came in rapping out of his mind too. He made me say it. I gotta say technically sound once again because I gotta acknowledge that. But the charisma dripping through his verse, I actually laughed a couple of his lines. That song is insane. I'm trying to gauge who had the best verse. I gotta go. I'll say Cooks, then Streets, then Boldy. I struggle to say it because all those verses were insane, but we really splitting hairs on that one. This is Ain't No Bon Jovi. That's funny.
Had a phone full of things before I had fans. Had plans on having scratch, let her stack bands. Lost Brody on the set, I felt like Pac-Man. See straight through these pussy niggas like a CAT scan. Don't nobody fuck with my kitchen. After Moochie do the dishes, put the pounds in the trash can. In my trap house, ducking, jacking the fat man. Tied up a buck, so I had to bump into Madman. Then dropped a bomb on me, put a 9 on me.
Imagery
These
is
niggas know
crazy.
this high rock, this ain't no Bon Jovi. Judge put a bond on me, had to pound a roller. These niggas know this high rock, this ain't no Bon Jovi.
I like that car.
Behind Boldy that'll ride for me. Take a headshot before they let a nigga slide on me. We had the spot on Grandma right behind Johnny. Why niggas fussing who hotter me a mock homie? I'm discussing the prices.
I in there right now. It's Mock. Sorry, my guy.
In China like a hot toddy. 6 Small Gambino crime family. I'm the John Gotti in Detroit. All we do is sell birds and drop bodies. Got 5 hobbies, love to read, love to recycle. Get money, fuck good and eat, then repeat cycle.
Another really solid one. They have good pace on this album. I think this is good sequencing to put this right behind Open Door, which is a really dark, grimy song. This beat was a lot livelier. I love that vocal sample that crept in sporadically through the song. Boldy's first verse was a standout on this song. The level of the scriptedness and the imagery was tough. Solid second verse as well, but that first one, that was the one. This is Bojack.
Bad man, when it's all said and done, who gon' have the last dance? Who gon' come second to none? Had a consecutive run, dropped off the bag on the app, collecting my funds. Ran up a check in the slum, never neglect. Rockin' purple label, Mr. Prada with the staples, whipping four in the baby, with the hand that rock the cradle where we at.
I went from high stepping on the
Hand that rock the cradle is fire.
wire, hand in hand serving, trying to get my levels right. All this crying, got a nigga bezel ice.
Sprinting through a big dollar, that's a Miller Lite. Quick to shoot him off the sky while he's still in flight. I make a nigga run the jewels like I'm Killer Mike. From the streets to the stage, stage to the street. Be on the east like I'm Dave, raising my knees.
The thing that I think makes Boldy stand out in this lane is his storytelling is so vivid and so succinct. I think that's really what separates the decent and good coke rappers from the great coke rappers, how vivid their storytelling is. A guy like Rock Marcy, Benny the Butcher, and Boldy can really put you on their blog, in their trap, and make you feel what they're feeling. That was here on this song, and then the horns added to the whole vibe of the song. It was a really moody song. The saxophone was basically crying on that song, and I like that solo on the end of the song. I was tough. This is Sig Sauer.
Yeah, Legend of Zelda. Big creature.
That's fire. It took me a second to put that together. Legend of Zelda, because Zelda got big creatures in it. Okay, that's tough.
Look at my wrists. Still ain't got time today. Too much designer sweat. Had to run it up underlay. Serving out of that gray Honda. I was selling on Ronda, yeah. Niggas thought that they knew me my whole life. Never knew where my mama stand.
Boldy just started getting in this pocket, from what I can remember. He got into this flow on Double Hockey Sticks. Not Double Hockey Sticks. What was the song with Benny the Butcher? His last song with Benny the Butcher off Bo Jackson that I'm forgetting right now. And then he got into this flow again on Moth and the Flame off of Super Tecmo Bo. It's a good pocket for him.
Mixed to eat the black tar with the cream and showed him how to turn brown to gray. Left with a brick and a half.
Bring Mile to Montana, that's the name of the song.
Came back with 190K. I can get all designer drugs depending on how much niggas trying to pay. Loafing at the hideaway. Brickin' Billie Holiday. Realest nigga in this shit.
Brickin' Billie Holiday.
I'm in the drug zone on Warwick. Watch that car up the street in that truck on the corner, keep a tuck on that 12. Serving clucks off of foil. We got Glocks, we got Evans, 10 Mules, and Sig Sauer.
His chorus sounded a little bit off. It don't really match the tempo. Or maybe it's just a lot of contrast.
Certified, tested, and approved. Land contracts, I'm invested. Made man quadruple OG. I've been handcuffed and arrested. All these band-aids got them on me like my hand cut and infected.
I think that song was good for the pacing of the album. I definitely like the flows that Boldy got into. The chorus sounded a little bit off, like it sounded a little offbeat to me. I could be tripping, and it could have just been the contrast between that really up-tempo beat, up-tempo flow, and then a slowed down, almost halftime chorus. The beat also had a lot of contrast too. Couldn't really place a finger on if that kick came from a drum machine, but I think the snare and definitely the hi-hat definitely was a 808. And surprisingly, it didn't sound out of place contrasting with those strings. So that's an interesting beat. I'm gonna have to run that song back. I think it was pretty cool. That's what I'm landing on. This is 5 Mississippi.
Sliding with a 50, Van Dyken with my sissy, sipping dirty Sprite. Pouring out the pint until I'm pissy. Count to 5 Mississippi, 30 poke, and I'm outside with a stiffy. Shit, I might just go live with a bricky. Me and 5 in that Benz. Imagine masterpiece.
Fire rhyme scheme.
On the Richie, number 5 come with a 50. Know this demon child, lot of bad habits and some evil traits. Mini Drake, fully automatic, let it eat its fat. The niggas hoods you hiding in, you thought was safe. You tell them everything else. Why you ain't telling?
His verse has such a dark undertone to
him. You seen
him.
the look in his eyes when he saw my face, knowing that I know what's going on. That's what you call a snake. Nigga drop my name, he getting mo. Running title that got 2 bricks of cocaine, 3 bits of blow. That's a travel pack. Used to work the grade shit. Boiling mayonnaise on me. All these band-aids on me. That's a first aid kit. Niggas know we purge and we grave dig. Parking them 6s in a row like a class of first grade kids.
Oh, that's another really cold, ominous song. Man, the writing on that song was insane. He had a couple standout one-liners in that second verse, but great imagery, start to finish. Bar for bar, if you just count the writing, that could have been his best song. The production was chilling, and I'm loving all the texture from Real Bad Man. The strings were front and center, but he had, especially that vocal sample layer in the background, there was a lot of complexity to this beat. I complimented the pacing on this album, more so was talking about the sequencing. I think it probably could benefit from a few more explosive tracks. With Boldy's flow being so laid back, I think that's what made the chemistry with him and Alchemist so good. Alchemist would have tracks that sounded dark like this album's been sounding, but then he'll throw in a really explosive track like Giant Slide on Price of Tea in China, or Double Hockey Sticks had a really fiery bass on the second half of that song. You know, a Hot Water Tank on Super Tecmo Bow. But this project has been excellent. This is one of Boldy's better albums so far. Definitely better and more chemistry than his last joint with Real Bad Man. This is Seeing Visions.
Fully brand Cubana. Bust down 42s, did my thing in Juliana. Shoulda went to boarding school, cause I moved to Oregon. Channel checking for the news, touch more keys than a piano. I can make an organ move. Still double down on that deuce, put a 7 on it. Thought that this was stab, but this that shit them niggas never wanted.
This mix is odd. It's not bad. It's odd. It's weird.
Thought that this was stab, but this that shit them niggas never wanted. Me and Chuck cut it in them game members you run behind. Closest thing that I got to some brothers when they come to Miami. Richest dog shit, real slum dog millionaire. Came up on 1, 2 grades and 4s off of Belvedere. Went to Chandler Elementary, 1st through 4th grade. Low cut fade, black suede, number 4 J's.
So they chose a really interesting way to mix Boldy's voice. I think it sounded good sonically. The issue is his voice kind of blended in with the instruments, and it made it hard to hear him. Like, I think I missed a bunch of the lines. He had good flow, he had good rhyme schemes, but sometimes it was hard to make out what he was saying. But we talk about it sound like an orchestra. There was a lot going on with that beat. I do like it. It reminded me of like some Roy Ayers with the keys and the guitar and the bass line. That's a trippy song. I think I rock with it, but the mix is throwing me out just a bit. This is the title track, Killing Nothing. Close it out.
Always been the black sheep, grew up the eyeball, thugging on them back streets till the day that my guy called. With Sean Paul riding dirty up 85. In Twin Charlie's just a friendly game of dodgeball. Count on my pockets, I wanna know what's in my bar. I let him see too much, don't know what the fuck that I thought. Might have to whack him just in case a nigga might talk. Cause all these niggas after I tax him, it's just a write-off. Really to the money, don't get your life boy. Took this
Their
bitch
write-off line
300
is
and
fire.
told her to take the night off. What up? In grandma crib trying to pee what's in your stash. Cheapest ticket on them slabs from my Ricans and my Rams. Got these niggas in my city streets, policing with no badge. Can't trust a soul, got me reaching for my man. Drugs on 7-6, PA Finkel to the crib.
And that's the album. I wouldn't say that's the best song on the album, but it's still definitely solid. One more display of Boldy's really good storytelling. One of the more jazzier, soulful instrumentals from Real Bad Man. Once again, the bass line was sick, and then the texture behind it was dope. I think overall, this is a really good album from Boldy James. When you get into his best albums, it's really crowded because his fire albums are extremely good. Main Drum and Nichols, Bo Jackson. But I think this has a really good argument to be right behind it. I think this was one of the most complete albums from Boldy. From a technical standpoint, the writing was excellent throughout. These are some of the best rhyme schemes Boldy has had, period. Some of the best storytelling he's had, period. He's had albums that had a few more standout one-liners, but he traded that for a little bit more vivid imagery. From a song structure standpoint, these are some of the most well-written choruses he's had, and nearly every song has had a chorus. I think there's one knot that puts it under a Main Drum and Nichols or a Bo Jackson. And it's going to sound weird because the production here was excellent. From a technical standpoint, bass lines were fire start to finish, had really clean drums start to finish. I think these beats played into Boldy's hand a lot better than they did on Real Bad Boldy. But I think the only thing here is the mood and the vibe was same from start to finish, which gave the album somewhat of a monotone feel, which sounds weird because the beats weren't that minimal. But you have Boldy's really laid back flow over beats where even though they were individually impressive, I don't think one stands out from the other. But with that being said, there's no weak points in the album. Every single song here was solid, from instrumentals to the writing. I think they really found their pocket. They really found their chemistry together and made something pretty special. I think this will creep into my top 10 albums, definitely so far. This is a dope listen. Boldy and Real Bad Man found something here.